Well, now this ought to be interesting. So I am here doing a review all by myself. Usually I have Vinny here, but he has a terrible toothache. I did tell him he should just get that tooth fixed, but he hasn't done that. But that's beside the point. He is at the doctor's right now. So I am going to review this song all by my lonesome. And you're probably not going to get the typical breakdown of lyrics from me, but nonetheless, here we are. Also, if you're interested in our political discussions, check out that channel. That's Vin and Sori. Wait a minute. Middle America with Vin and Sori. And you can check that out. The links will be in the description. You can find our gear links, our Patreon links, our socials, all that stuff. It's all right down there. So I have chosen to do a song called Mr. Crowley by Ozzy Osbourne. So we shall see. This is apparently listed as one of the greats. So I wanted to hear one of the greats tonight. So put on your headphones, crank them up, and we're about to go live. Are you ready? Go. Creepy organ sound. My sister and I had an organ growing up. We had a lot of fun making this type of music on it. liked that. I think that one was a really good one. The storyline is pretty interesting, but I liked what it sounded like. I liked the guitar work. I liked the way that they were, like the way that they were moving down the scales, or I'm not really sure what you call it, but like the way that they were moving down the sounds of the music was really cool. I actually got lost in it a couple times. I remember, I'm pretty sure I said this on a review before, I grew up in a Christian home, and we didn't really have any music, so to speak, until we hit like a certain age, and even then it was Christian music. And I remember hearing the name Ozzy Osbourne because a good friend of mine had a poster up in his room that had Ozzy Osbourne and like the family on it, and I was like, what's that? And then he talked about it, and I was like, oh yeah, because I remember hearing the churches like saying how bad Ozzy Osbourne was, so I'm looking at the lyrics here, and apparently he had done like an interview. Ozzy did an interview with Rolling Stones, and he talked about this song. He said, I never did this black magic stuff. The reason I did Mr. Crowley on my first solo album was that everybody was talking about Aleister Crowley. Jimmy Page bought his house, and one of my roadies worked with one of his roadies. I thought, Mr. Crowley, who are you? Where are you from? But people would hear the song and go, he's definitely into witchcraft. So that part, it kind of made me laugh, because like that's exactly like, I remember hearing about different metal groups and different metal bands and hearing that they were so bad, and like it was like the devil and devil worship and this and that and everything else. And now that Vin and I have this channel where I'm listening to all types of metal and stuff, I hear all kinds of different things that I'm like, well, that's not what they said it was. I think that there are some songs that are like very specifically like they are, well, I mean, the artists themselves have said that they're specifically trying to mess with people when they write this stuff. So there's like that stuff that's like terrible. But then at the same time, you know, this apparently was an interesting story to him. Like, who is this guy? It seems like this guy, because he starts out, which again, I don't understand how the Christians were looking at this, or the religious people and Christian groups, he said, I don't understand how the Christian groups were looking at this and saying that he was into witchcraft. He says, Mr. Crowley, what went wrong in your head? Oh, Mr. Crowley, did you talk to the dead? So it seems like this guy, you know, he probably had some situation where he supposedly talked to the dead, or he heard from somebody that was dead. And so in his song, he's saying, look, what went wrong with your head? I mean, is there something wrong with your head? Or I mean, did you literally hear from somebody from the devil? But again, that to me doesn't sound like that he's trying to worship the devil in in this song, but whatever. And then he says, your lifestyle to me seems so tragic with the thrill of it all. You fooled all the people with magic. You waited on Satan's call. So I mean, I'm not sure, but to me it sounds like that Ozzy doesn't believe that this guy actually, looks like this guy probably did things or said things about being like, you know, into the arts and magic and stuff like that. And it seems like, to me, seems like Ozzy doesn't believe him, because he said his lifestyle seemed tragic because there was all the thrill of it, but you were like, he says you were just fooling people with magic. You waited on Satan's call. You fooled all the people with magic. You waited on Satan's call. To me, it seems like he's saying like, yeah, you were doing the magic thing with people, but in the end, you were basically like Satan's pawn, like whatever Satan wanted you to do, like you were on call. You waited on Satan's call, whatever Satan told you to do. Then he calls him Mr. Charming. Did you think you were pure? Mr. Alarming in nocturnal rapport. I don't know if he's calling him Mr. Charming. Maybe it's because this guy was like, had a good, you remember we did Cult of Personality, that song, and so there's certain people that just have such a personality that people are just drawn to them, and it doesn't matter what they do necessarily, because people are just naturally drawn to them. So maybe he had one of those charismatic personalities that people were drawn to, and then on top of that, you know, he was doing different stuff with magic or whatever. Again, I mean, I'm not completely clear on this guy's story. Mr. Charming, did you think that you were pure? So I don't know if he's saying, like, did you think that what you were doing was a good thing? Like, even though you were on Satan's call, like, you were doing the magic, but did you think that you were pure? Did you think that what you were doing was good and what was right? Then it says, Mr. Alarming in nocturnal rapport. Mr. Alarming would be, I mean, you guess you're, like, shocked. He shocks you. He alarms people. In nocturnal rapport, nocturnal means like night. Like, I don't know, like they'll say, oh, that animal is nocturnal, and that means he's going to be going around your house at night. Nocturnal. And rapport is like a relationship that you have, I think, like that maybe it's like the thoughts that people have about the relationship, because they'll say like, we have you on a good rapport, like so maybe nighttime rapport, like nighttime relationships. Mr. Alarming in nighttime relationships. Maybe he alarmed people with the type of company that he would keep, I guess. And then it says, uncovering things that were sacred manifest on this earth, conceived in the eye of a secret, and they scattered the afterbirth. This, I literally have no clue. Uncovering things that were sacred. I mean, it seems like they're using some sexual, like, innuendo here. We've got uncovering, then we have conceived, and then we talk about afterbirth. So that's all like, you know, uncovering conception and then birth. But uncovered things that were sacred manifest on the earth. Uncovering things that were sacred. Maybe he brought attention to like false things within the church. I don't know. I'm just taking a wild stab at this. I have no idea. Conceived in the eye of a secret, and they scattered the afterbirth. Again, I don't know if they're talking literally like he was conceived in some sort of strange, secretive way. Or maybe it was a belief system that he had. I think I saw something where it was talking about that he like started like a new religion or something called Thelema. And if that was the case, maybe that's what he's talking about. Uncovering things that were sacred manifest on the earth. That religion, conceived in the eye of a secret, because it was started by him, so it was his secret, and they scattered the afterbirth. Your guess is as good as mine. Let me know in the comment section what you think about that, because I'm like literally like no idea. Mr. Crowley, won't you ride my white horse? Mr. Crowley, it's symbolic, of course. There's a white horse in Revelation. There's also a black one and a red one. What does the white horse in Revelation? White horse, Revelation. I don't know. I don't remember what the white horse stands for in Revelation. Who was on the white horse? Okay. The Word of God? What? Where's the verse? Okay, I'm just going to read it myself. I can't just take everybody's word for it. Then I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. The one sitting on it is called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he judges and makes war. His eyes are like a flame of fire, and on his head are many diadems, and he has a name written that no one knows but himself. Okay, so the white horse, the rider of the white horse sounds like it's Jesus. And so if this is, won't you ride my white horse? It's symbolic, of course. How would you be asking him to ride my white horse? Again, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe they're saying, I don't know. I'm at a loss for that one as well. Okay. Approaching a time that is classic, I hear that maiden's call. Approaching a time that is drastic. Standing with their backs to the wall. Was it Pamalic? Let me see what this word means. Look it up. Oh. Okay, so apparently that word means a person engaged or inclined to controversy, argument. So it's like an argumentative person. I want to know what you meant. I want to know what you meant. So maybe he said something that was extremely controversial, but at the same time people were not sure what he was actually saying when he said it. I mean, if somebody starts a religion and on top of that they're joining all kinds of things for, like, you know, getting into magic and all the stuff that it sounds like this guy was doing, I would think that they would say some things that would be really interesting that we may not understand what they meant. So probably he said something, that would be my guess. He said something and then this guy, Ozzy, was like, okay, is this really true or what? Like, what did you actually mean when you said what you said? And they're like, sometimes people speak in like codes and stuff. I know, like, a lot of times when I would read the New Testament, I was like, yo, why won't Jesus just answer the question? But a lot of times the way that he was answering was an answer to the question, but it sounded like another question, because in there was the answer. He's a very, very intelligent person. And when you understand the religion and you study the different things that happen, you understand, oh, okay, that's what he meant. Like, when I was a child, I thought, my gosh, like, Jesus never answers a direct question. Like, why can't he just answer our question? But he was. And like I said, once you begin to study it and stuff and you become a student of the Bible, you'll understand those things. But I don't think that, like, if I listened to this song, there's no way in the world that I would have come out of this thinking that Ozzy was, like, into black magic and stuff like that. Like, I don't even get that from this. So I'm not sure how that happened. I think a lot of times that Christian people are really scared of what metal sounds like, because metal has, like, an aggressive sound and they really play those instruments well. But I firmly believe that, I mean, we've said it before, me and Vin are Christians. I totally believe that in heaven there's going to be different sections of like, basically like giant shows, and then there'll be, like, you know, metal type music. You're gonna have, you know, black metal and all the different types of metal, and just experiencing all the different, I don't know, just experiencing all different types of music in heaven. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. Overall, I actually give this song a pretty high score. I'm going with a 9.9. I liked it. I did think, like I said at the beginning, that it sounded like Ghost, the band, when it first started out. And then there was a way that he would do when he was saying some of the I think he would say, of course, and he would like, da da, and when he would do that, it reminded me of Peter Steele. And that might be just because I have type O on my brain right now. Not sure. Definitely want to listen to that. And I don't think that you're going to be seeing Vin in either one of the reviews today because he's not feeling well. So that means, sadly, I'm going to have to choose the underground. So you can probably figure what that's going to be. Anyway, thanks for joining in with me. Have a good day. God bless. And don't forget to check the links in the description to find all the goodies. Sorry out.